should curtsy to them? I mean, it is mind-boggling. It's insane that they think that they're better than the rest of the human race. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, where, if you're with the prince or you're with them, you have to curtsy. My God, I mean, when are the people going to wake up? They're being held prisoners in their own minds.
You're absolutely right.
And then, I get a letter from the NAACP, which I'm a member, and, I believe in equality and justice, but they say, Frank, taking a stand for what is right sometimes comes with grave consequences. Yes, that's true. And then they go, since taking office as United Attorney General, what? They're saying, sadly, extreme elements within the U.S. House are threatening the attorney. But, I mean, what's happening, there are no principles. It should be principles above personality. And it's all this cronyism, and I wish these young kids today, they would wake up and, you remember what happened at Kent State when the National Guard opened fire on its own citizens. Maybe that's what they're afraid of, but...
well, let me raise that, because it's funny you brought that up. They're announcing more and more military on the streets. Secretary of the Army wants to station a brigade in every city. It's not for Al-Qaeda now. They're little buddies they're using over in Libya and Syria. It's for us. They're announcing armed drones. They're announcing 450 million rounds of 40 cal hollow point for citizens. Homeland Security is getting mobile armored pillboxes. What do you think this whole buildup is for, Serpico?
Well, if it's the way it's happening, it's not for the good. It's to suppress the masses. We got another Syria. It's going to be the U.S. is, they say the United States, but the people have to get united against oppression is what they have to do, and this is what the government is afraid of. So they're going to, control the people by force of arms. And I live in a country. I mean, what they say. I can skin a buck. I could run a trout line, and a country boy can survive. And the people are arming up. They don't trust the government, so it's not just a few. It's those that are awake, and are they going to say that I'm talking? Accuse me of trying to incite the masses. You don't know what this government is capable of. And let me tell you, you were saying I was in Switzerland. You know why I left Switzerland? Because I was run out by the FBI because they wanted me to come back to New York and be a part of their sham, and I refused, and they sent out a subpoena and said I would be held in contempt if I refused, and so I had to take it on the lam out of Switzerland. But again, you have one country, you have another country. I ended up in Holland, and I ended up pulling a little kid out of the canal that had fallen into the canal, and a crowd, assembled, and then the police, and I snuck out through the crowd before the police got there. And then a couple of nights later, there was a burglary in progress across the canal because I was living on the canal and I had my dog with me, and he was barking. And I looked, and call it muscle memory or reflex, I called the police. And then I went out there, and they had the guy and with all the booty, he took off the boat, and I was really impressed by the way that he was handled by the police. And the next morning, 2 detectives came to my door and escorted me to police headquarters. And they brought me through the cells, and I thought, oh, they're going to throw me in the flammer. But at least I thought, look at this. You can eat off the floor here, stainless steel, and it was civil, not like the dungeons they have in New York and other places. And then they didn't throw me in there. They brought me upstairs to the police commissioner, and the commissioner, a gray-haired gentleman, he jumped to his feet. He reached out his hand and he said, Meneer, sir, may I shake your hand? And I thought, what? Am I dreaming or something? He had a copy of his book on my desk. on his desk. And I said, it's always a pleasure to shake the hand of a police officer that wants to shake my hand. And that's what I wrote in this book. And a couple of years ago when I was involved with the drug wars, the damage done, the drug wars, and it was premiering in Amsterdam, the police commissioner, the new police commissioner, came to introduce me, and he said, in 1974, I had to choose between becoming an F-16 pilot or the Sports Academy. And he says, and then I saw a movie called Serpico, and my mind was made up. So my point is, what we have to do, we have to inspire people, because by our deeds, they're like pebbles that you throw into a body of water, they make ripples. And I never would have imagined that, 30, 40 years after, people are still being inspired, and that's what the people need. They need inspiration. Well, like your show that, tells people what's really going on in the world. And, I know they play with words. They got their own vocabulary. They say freedom isn't free. You bet your ass it isn't free. You have to fight for it, but not in foreign countries. Right here in our own country, that's where you have to fight for your freedom.
Wow, Frank Serpico, this is an amazing interview. You are definitely on fire today. We're going to do Overdrive, folks. We can finish the hour with him. We're just going to go into the fourth hour with Wayne Madsen coming up, if he's able to do that. He's got the inside scoop on Fast and Furious murders, all of it. Former NSA officer and congressional reporter. Everything he told me 3 or 4 months ago, was actually about a year ago, but 3 or 4 months ago really got clear with informants and people. He had to leave the country for a while over all this. He's going to be joining us dealing with it because reportedly the White House had a hitman out after him, but once that went public, they left him alone. That's another issue. But talking about freedom not being free, they killed the D.C. madam after she was on my show, and they just throw these lies at everybody. And when everybody starts just trying to go along to get along, that's what allows corruption to run rampant. But what Frank was talking about, all the good police he's inspired and others, and that's what you've got to do. All of us doing little things like the pebbles in a pond, but you can feel the evil intensifying right now. You can see the insane corruption. Frank, let me raise a curveball on you here, because, we didn't talk before you came on today. What about 9/11? It's been used as the foundation of everything that we see happening, the warrantless spying that's illegal, the highway checkpoints all over the country, the TSA sticking their hands down our pants. And I want to ask you about that. William Shatner now being groped by him today, leaving LAX. Here's William Shatner. Let's pull his pants down, he may be a terrorist. This training us all that we're prisoners while ignoring the real criminals that are all around us. But the official story of 9/11, now Anwar al-Awlaki, number 3 in al-Qaeda, they admit was really CIA. The head of the 7/7 bombings, they admit was MI6. Now they publicly use al-Qaeda to take over Libya and now Syria, and they admit this in the news. Well, yeah, al-Qaeda is working for us, but they're good guys. But I've got to have TSA grope my family, and William Shatner's got to have him pull his pants down because they're going in his pants. That's what they did. They went in his pants. They fell off. It happens all the time to people. Make old ladies get out of wheelchairs. I'm ranting here, Serpico. But this foundation of 9/11, what's your view on that?
First of all, I refused to fly because when I came back in the country, I was strip searched by the customs people, and they knew everything that was going on in my life with the police, which was supposed to be secret. So, but I have to say one thing, that the thing is, it's the hierarchy that forces these men to do it, like their quotas. And these guys, as they said to me, Frank, it might be rationalizing, but they say, we got our jobs, our home, we have to pay the mortgage. So they are the victims, but they just have to be strong enough. But how are you going to do it when they hold the axe over you? I wrote an article about 9/11 for Chronogram magazine way back when. I don't remember all the names and stuff now, but about the Iron Triangle. and that the night before 9/11, bin Laden's, I think it was his brother, and all these heads of state had this meeting at, I forget which hotel it was here in America.
It was the Ritz-Carlton.
Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, no, that was in the London Guardian.
You know about that, right?
Yeah, no, Bush and all the bin Ladens, and then only they were allowed to leave the country on the day of 9/11 when all the air traffic was shut down. That's confirmed, yes.
Yeah, so wasn't that a coincidence?
Yeah. No, I mean, they blew it sky high. Yeah, it's a fact.
And then this other character, Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani, there still is hope for democracy in America. I got to say that, because there's this street artist, and his name is no relation to the show host. It's not, I think it's Dave, something, Robert Letterman or something. But anyway, he was a street artist, and he would make paintings of Giuliani, and he would call him Adolf Giuliani with a mustache and things like that. Giuliani, the mayor of New York, had him arrested 41 times. And this street artist managed to beat him every time. So there are some good judges out there, and they have to inspire the others. We have to, there was a quote I was looking for here from Cicero, about diligence.
You're talking about the height of the Roman Empire. You were building it up, and we had to go to break.
Right. But there's I lost the quote, but in the end he says, "And who shall say we are worthy of more?" So you can't blame nobody if you sit on your laurels and you don't do anything about it. So the people, there's strength in numbers. He says, though liberty is established by law, we must be vigilant, for liberty to enslave us is always present under that very liberty. Our Constitution speaks of the general welfare of the people. Under that phrase, all sorts of excesses can be employed by lusting tyrants to make us bondsmen. So if that doesn't say it all, I don't know what does, anyway.
And of course, Cicero really helped promote the idea.
I don't know how much time we have, but it's always a pleasure talking to you and visiting your website about our great Pope and all the work he did. And that's the opiate of the masses. As I said before, the Pope, the Queen, these rock stars, the labels inside your clothes. It's the corporations that make pawns out of the public, and telling you. Then you see these guys, these television guys are on public television and with a brand new suit every time, and the commissioner too in New York City, $1,000 suits, $100 ties. They're setting a good example for tightening your belt.
What do you think about Eric Holder? From my research, he was intimately involved in Oklahoma City and in the cover-up, and it's in federal court. It was even in the Chicago Tribune and El Paso Times that the drug cartels, Sinaloa got caught with 5 tons.